for all the guys, especially the manosphere, who always, bitch constantly about, there's no good girls left. Yeah, I always make jokes about this. We're like, you have to go to the good girl church where the good girls are, which doesn't actually exist. But anyway, so all the guys who complain that they can't find good women, in quotes, well, you know what? There are good women, and they've come together. So you can probably talk to them. Maybe you'll find a wife, and then you can increase the fuck rate.
Yeah. I really like this.
We need to emphasize this. Okay, y'all are gonna remember this. You need to increase the fuck rate. How are you going to save the West if you're not fucking and reproducing? Really? Now, how are you going to do that? All this bitching constantly. I've heard this for years from guys. I'm black-pilled. Oh God, we're on decline. I just keep fucking consuming negativity. Okay, how do you change the world effectively? You fucking become a man. You become a leader. You have a woman follow you, and you have children. And you reproduce and you teach what you want to see in the world. You're not going to fucking do that bitching about how you can't get laid and it's not even worth getting laid because there's no good girls left. Go fuck yourself.
Increase the fuck rate. Go
Increase
fuck
the
yourself.
fuck rate. You need to stop fucking yourself and go actually fuck a woman.
There we go.
A woman. I love this last point though, and I've talked about this at the convention a little bit as well, that in the manosphere forever, there's been almost forever anyway, bitching and moaning about no good women, there's no good woman here, no good woman left. Mm-hmm. You're seeing like black pill. And yeah, if that, there might be some truth to that, right? That's not a complaint out of nowhere, but it's like, if you're not gonna fucking do anything about it, you don't have a lot of room to bitch. If what you're saying is true, if you believe it, and if that's accurate to reality, you can't fucking do nothing about it. This is why I made Make Women Great Again, right? That's why you make some tweets sometimes that inspire women to do a little better, even if they get butthurt in the meantime. It's necessary. You can't have great women without mansplaining, without men teaching them how to be great women. It's at least one of the main necessary components for women to be great, to be good women. And yeah, if you can't, I'm not going to do anything about it. Action. You're very much about action, Jeff.
Yes.
Men have to take action, and that starts at least with speaking. At least a woman have an alternative option of what to do.
You have to at least be able to tell the truth to women.
Yeah.
If you don't have the balls to tell them the truth, then
Yeah.
you're not going to have any success at all. One of the reasons I think we're seeing more women show up to these events is, it's a phenomenon that I've noted many times. In a crisis, apartment building catches on fire, or a train gets stopped in the subway and the lights go out, whatever. The most rabid lesbian feminist starts twisting her pigtails and becomes a traditional woman to be saved, okay? Suddenly, they deserve all the protection that men have. They're not the ones picking up the slack, I think a lot of women perceive a society in crisis mm-hmm. and are rethinking where they want to be in that crisis, right? Mm-hmm. And part of that is perception, part of it's reality. One of the interesting things about female hypergamy is that the more successful that a woman gets, the smaller her mating pool. The more successful a man gets, the much larger his mating pool. So we have an asymmetry, right? And as women have become more and more successful in our society, largely due to laws and other things that advantage them, they become more and more successful, they can't marry up. They can't find men to marry up. And women marry up and men marry down. So they perceive a crisis and they go looking for a way to solve it in a very instinctive way, which is to get men to solve their problem, which is what women generally do and require. Mm. And we're only too happy to oblige by returning us to patriarchy.
Yeah. Restoring the patriarchy. One man at a time, one house
at a time.
What's interesting is I've been doing coaching and programs for many years for men. And women always say to me, do you do this for women too? Do you attract for women or this kind of thing? And no, I don't, because number one, it's not my place. But number two, you don't need to coach the women. That's my take. You need to coach the men.
That's right.
And then, because the women will reflect the men of the society. Mm-hmm. So you concentrate on the men, and there's a reflection going to happen. And that's why we have this discord right now, because men are not men today. Mm-hmm. And they don't have any, there's nothing for women to grab onto. There's no gravitas mm-hmm. in modern man. Mm-hmm. So they're playing both roles. Be the feminine part and the masculine part, because where's the men?
Yeah.
And the men are saying, like you said earlier, men are saying, where's the women? And we give up. We're not having sex anymore. We're not going into this world. And and women are concentrating on the things on the fringes like this. So women today, true beauty is rare, but it exists in women. Women are not beautiful; they're beautified nowadays
Right.
with body renovations and all this kind of stuff. Right? They're beautified.
Filters and stuff.
Yeah, and so we're starved for true feminine grace, and we're starved for true masculine grace, and that's what I've been saying all this time.
One additional thing, because
Go ahead.
you brought up something interesting. So I watch feminist movies, so you don't have to. And I watched watched one called Tango, and it had an excellent conflict in it. In tango and other classical dances, men lead the fucking dance. There is no classical dance where women lead, period, right? And it's actually one of the hardest things when you go to a dance studio and say you want to learn how to do the salsa or something. The hardest thing is they have to have older women in the dance studio to tell the younger women that they can't lead the dance. And many of them walk out. They can't suborn themselves. So in this feminist movie Tango, this becomes the focus of a conflict between a feminist who loves a tango dancer who looks amazingly like you. And
He's a ballet guy.
yeah, he's a ballet guy. And she can't let herself be led by this man. And the compromise at the end of the movie, this metaphorical compromise becomes she lets him lead her, but she sings the music into his ear. And they come to a compromise sort of in that way, right? And it shows this feminist notion that the woman wants to control even the rhythms of the dance, right? Men have to just simply say, and I've had to tell many women this in dancing, you cannot lead. Your job is to be a moldable device, and if the dance goes well, all the credit will go to you. If it goes badly, it goes to me. Since I'm responsible, you have to do what I tell you to do, or we can't dance. But it's funny how in this simple physical act, you find that the disobedience of women, the inability of women to submit to a man, even on this simple thing, is so hard that women will walk out after paying for lessons.
Yeah. I've seen women walk out of the 22 convention, not this year, but last year and the year before. A couple women, not a lot, we're talking like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 last year. They got so irate, usually with Coach Greg Adams. Occasionally someone else would inspire a walkout. But he in particular is the champion of getting women to walk out. One woman I walked down the hallway and I caught her walking out and I was able to talk her back into going.
Okay.
I got a little Zan Perrion in me, seduce these women. but some of them I couldn't save. They just walk and I'm like, lost cause, hopeless, goodbye.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of disobedience. I want to shift gears a little bit to a concept I made to start a little debate on the panel here.
Okay.
So, and it revolves around the issues of accountability and responsibility. Do women have agency? Do they have accountability? Is it just, I think Zan hit the nail on the head that there's a reciprocal relationship between men and women in our culture right now. That sounds like common sense, but sincerely, men are mostly a bunch of beta losers at this point, and women then are a bunch of degenerate skanks. And this behavior shifted, like AJ said, into the bell curve. There's a huge chunk of women that are nothing, that are a fraction of the quality woman that their grandmother and great-grandmother was.
Yes.
Their great-grandmother could cook a huge dinner. They can't even boil an egg, literally. So my question to the panel is, it revolves around slut makers and a self-made slut. A self-made slut, like a self-made millionaire, is a concept I created in 2021. Because I had certain tradcons, traditional conservatives, they like to accuse men and pickup artists universally, not in like a specified case, of being slut makers and this kind of thing. And I get on a surface level why they would say this, right? You go out, you have sex with 150 women, you're a slut maker. In my own experience of women in the dating marketplace, a lot of the girls that I ended up hooking up with in Orlando and around Florida, these girls had notch counts 30, 40, 50 deep. And I was number 37. So it's like, if this girl, by conventional standards, is a promiscuous, loose woman, how am I responsible for that? Am I a slut maker if this girl already had sex with 37 men? Which one of those men made her a slut? Maybe one guy broke her heart, but really the common denominator is her. Maybe her father was obviously failed her and her mother, but So I guess the question of the panel is, are sluts self-made or are men slut makers? What is the relationship between these two things and women's agency and responsibility for their own life?